Yo, what's happening, Raider Nation? It's your boy Soto here. You know what it is. Raiders versus the world, talked about the team the world loves to hate, your Las Vegas Raiders. Guys, we got a lot going on right now. It's kind of like the first wave of free agency is pretty much done. You're not going to see a lot of free agency moves right now, just a couple of filler moves here and there. Nothing that's going to move the needle. I don't think any free agency moves right now are going to change anyone's draft strategy moving forward or anything like that. I think that all that stuff is pretty much set. This is a really important time right now. It's a very underrated time right now in the league year because these are where a lot of the sneaky moves get made. We're going to talk about that. But before we do, want to make sure everyone please like, comment, and subscribe. It's a great way to support this channel. It's absolutely free. And like I always say, it's the absolute bare minimum you can do to support this channel besides doing absolutely nothing and just watching, which of course I always do appreciate. But hell, there's been situations where there's a lot of teams, there's a lot of buzz. Let's just say this. Let's just go here. There's a lot of buzz going on right now about Jackson Dart. A lot of buzz. And it's not just from the teams that you might think. There's the Saints. There's the Jets. There's the Rams. There's quite a few teams out there. So Jackson Dart is getting tossed around as being a potential top 10 pick and a potential trade-up candidate. Just very intriguing because the Jets are going with Justin Fields as their quarterback. And they're in line to have a young quarterback learn under Justin Fields. So the team that has the need for a quarterback the most outside of the top three is not the Raiders anymore. It's the Jets. That's the soonest one. So if two quarterbacks go in the top three picks, the team that needs to get jumped to get the Jackson Dart is the Jets. So a team has to jump the Jets to get to that spot to take a player, like if it's a Jackson Dart. Just so happens we're the team right in front of the Jets. So there is going to be a lot of phone call and a lot of traffic for that pick, I believe. Do we trade back? It's a possibility, but I wouldn't trade back so much that we're sacrificing great for volume. Now, I understand volume is good if you trade picks later in the rounds. Like last season, I understand. I love Brock Bowers, and I'm not saying we should have or shouldn't have, but it's a better scenario for us to trade back because you're not the probability was very low to get a great player at 13, which we actually ended up doing because half the picks that went ahead of us were quarterbacks. That's the only reason why. So I really do feel like if we are going to trade back, I wouldn't go any further than like 12, which I think 12 is what, the Cowboys maybe? I wouldn't go any further. Jackson Dart could be, a target for the Cowboys. Look, man, hamstring injuries are not anything to play with. And Dak Prescott got slowed down a considerable amount after he broke his ankle. Then he tore his hamstring damn near off the bone. Like it was, I don't know if it was a complete tear. It's a partial tear, but you're going to be able to see it. Like this, like these don't think that this is what ended Ken Griffey Jr.'s career, was tearing a hamstring. Like he was never the same player after that. So I understand that Dak has a lot of money coming to him, but if I'm the Cowboys, I'm getting it because Cooper Rush is gone. I don't know. Trey Lance was whatever over with the Cowboys. They might be a target to trade up and leapfrog the Jets to make sure they get the quarterback that they want. And if that's Jackson Dart, it's very probable that leapfrog can come to us. We still might be able to get Ashton Genty at 11 or 12. Wouldn't that be that would be like the sickest thing ever? We trade back and still get a great player. That's 2 years in a row we're getting a great player in the low double digits. Damn. I mean, I'd go for that. So look, there's a lot going on right now. So that's just a lot of what we're talking about as far as the draft goes. Look, it's impossible right now to tell you what's going to happen, because you're not reading one person's mind. You're reading 32 minds. And those are just the decision makers, not all the stuff they're putting in to the decision makers' heads in order for them to make the decision. It's nuts, man. It's crazy. If we're at 6, I don't know that we go O-line, because there's either going to be a quarterback available or a great player available. So I think, quarterback is an option. Genty is an option. Mason Graham. I think the 3 guys that I have lined up, the T-Max, the Mason Grahams, the Genties, those are like A, B, and C. And again, depending on what happens with the quarterback situation, are they dead set against taking a quarterback early? Do they want to take one a little bit later? Again, it's impossible to tell what's happening right now. But this team for sure has a lot of needs. Okay, you don't win 4 games in a year and not have a ton of needs. So we have to see how we can fulfill these needs with the best players possible throughout this draft. What are some of these needs? We'll see. What I think is we're looking at definitely interior offensive line. We need one more. I understand that we have Jordan Meredith under contract, and he played very admirably last year. I understand that it was a little bit of a dip in production for Dylan Parham. We'll see if he can come back. I like Jackson Powers-Johnson one more year after no concussion issues last year. He played just fine. He was a brute. He was a bully. He played like a Pete Carroll line plays. That Russell Okung line that they had over in Seattle, those guys were a bunch of bullies, dude. Those guys were a bunch of just hard-nosed bullies that wanted to make things happen. People talk about how we can get a lot of running backs deep and late in this draft. There's a lot of interior offensive linemen that we can get that are just really nice for us, I think. Don't trade great for 2 goods. The 1 great is better than 2 goods. It just works out that way, because the impact a great player has on the game is infinitely better than 2 good players. Greatness, greatness, greatness. I say go for greatness. Interior offensive line is deep. Running back is deep. I don't know that. Look, and here's my difference, okay? Because I do like great linemen as well. But when you talk about taking an offensive lineman that high, if he's not like a bookend tackle that's going to be your tackle for 15 years, he's 1 of 5. How much better can one player make a group of 5? Right? But the running back is 1 of 1 on the field. How much better can that running back make that position with just 1 player? Quite a bit more. That's why I'm leaning towards that. Our offensive line is better than the line that, especially on the interior. I think that a lot of people are sleeping on the Alex Kappa move. Alex Kappa is a very, very good player. He had injury concerns and injuries last season. So roster needs outside of quarterback. There's the running back we talked about, interior offensive line. I like having a very deep defensive line. That's just me. That was me before, the Eagles did it last season. I like to have a lot of options for my big guys. And here's why. I've talked about this before. Let me know if you've heard it before. Just humor me. How many super athletic 6'4", 6'5", 320-pound people do you see just walking around every day in life? How many? When's the last time you saw just in the street a 6'4", 300-plus pound guy who can, run and jump and move and is super strong? When's the last time you saw one out in the wild, in just in life? Not very often. They're not very common. Now, how often have you seen like a 5'10" to 6 foot guy around 200 pounds that's like athletic? A lot more often. You see him at the gym all the time, right? I'm not talking about as athletic as it needs to be in the NFL, but they're just more of those guys. There's more of those people out there to get. You don't find these guys in the trenches at that size with all their measurables very often. So I feel you have to have a lot of resources to those lines, because you're looking at now and you're looking at the future to developing these guys to be your guys of the future. That's how you win in today's NFL. That's how you've always won in the NFL. You've always won with strong play up front. The guys on the outsides, yeah, that's great to have, but those guys can be had. The guys up front, those are the guys that we really need to spend our money on. I love D-line. I love D-line in this draft. I love that we can get D-line. Like, we can get guys heavy, maybe not Mason Graham, but heavy contributors. Like, there's a guy, Tonka Hemingway. I think he's out of South Carolina. Tonka Hemingway is a beast, and the dude can be had probably in like the 5th, 6th round. The guy's an excellent player. There's a lot of guys like that. TJ Sanders, you can get him in the 3rd round, maybe even the 4th round. That guy's a stud. You can get these guys later, and they're still going to be heavy contributors to your defensive line. I really do feel that there's also a need on the outside here. Doesn't necessarily – Chip Kelly, the good thing about Chip Kelly's offense is you don't necessarily have to have a quote-unquote number 1 receiver for the passing game to work because of the way the running game works. Because of that, you can get away with some very good receivers maybe not having a number 1. So I really do feel like we can get a lot of this stuff done that we need to get done because of the depth in this draft. Does that make sense, guys? I like offensive line early, but not too early, because one player doesn't affect a group of 5 as much as one player affects a group of 1 on the field, because normally there's only 1 running back on the field. So we get a big leap in talent in that running back position. It's going to be it's going to affect the outcome and the team much more than just a guy. All right, guys. I think that's pretty much it for tonight. We're going to call it a night. Thank you very much for listening, guys. I really appreciate you. That's my time for tonight. I want to tell you guys one thing. I really appreciate you guys coming on and just showing up for the nation, man. It's Raiders versus the world. Raiders versus everybody else. Just like Raheem Mostert said, he didn't really grow up being a Raider fan, but he always kept an eye on the shield. He always kept an eye on it. That goes to show you they hate us because they ain't us. They all want to be part of the Raiders. Go ahead, if you haven't done it already, please like, comment, and subscribe to this video. It's a great way to support this channel. It's absolutely free, and it's the bare minimum you can do to support besides doing absolutely nothing. Easy for me to say. Absolutely nothing. And just watching the video, which I always still appreciate. All right, guys. Until next time, everybody. Peace. Hey, Raider Nation. Thanks for watching. There's plenty more where that came from. Go ahead and smash that like button. Drop a comment. Make sure to subscribe and share to all your socials. It's the bare minimum you can do without doing absolutely nothing.